Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. This video is currently being made at the halftime of Game 3, Miami Heat versus New York Knicks, and I just wanted to give some of my halftime thoughts. And overall, in my opinion, I just feel like the Knicks really need that scoring kick coming off of the bench, and really the player who is going to offer that scoring kick is going to be Immanuel Quickley, a guy who is in Sixth-Man of the Year conversation at some point. 2 months ago, it seems like he was dropping random 38-point games, random 40-point games here and there. And now, right now, for the New York Knicks, it seems as though a 25-point game is not even on the horizon for Immanuel Quickley. He's really struggled in this postseason. Now, I completely get it. Immanuel Quickley is still a really young guy. It's only his third year in the NBA. He's 23 years old. The thing is, though, he was in the playoffs in his first season, and he really struggled in the playoffs. He went from a good rookie to a guy who really struggled to even crack the rotation at some point in that Atlanta Hawks series, and now he's having his minutes deducted because Thibodeau is really not having a lot of faith in Quickley because of the minutes he's displayed on the court in this Miami Heat series and just in the playoffs in general so far. This year, he played 81 games, and he was absolutely phenomenal in 29 minutes per game, which is not even a crazy high amount of minutes. He was able to average 15 points per game, 4 rebounds per game. For a guy his size, to get that amount of rebounds is very impressive, especially coming off of the bench. 3.4 assists per game on 52% from the 2, 37% from 3, so slightly above league average shooter from 3 on a pretty solid sample size as well. And overall, he shot 44.8% from the field in total, so that's a really nice efficiency mark for a younger, smaller guard coming off the bench in the NBA today. Going into this playoffs, we realistically knew Julius Randle was going to have some off nights in terms of his deep 2 and 3 shooting ability. We all knew RJ Barrett was really going to struggle with his shot sometimes, and hell, dare I say, I think RJ Barrett has played slightly better than people expected him to play. So really, we looked at Immanuel Quickley, of course Jalen Brunson, but Immanuel Quickley to be that role player to step up and start hitting threes for the New York Knicks. And that's really yet to happen for the New York Knicks in this playoff run. Quite simply, you can really sum up Immanuel Quickley's struggles with his three-point shot. Are there other struggles? Yes, and I will get to some of those other struggles and some of the tendencies that I think have really been hurting Immanuel Quickley in this playoff run so far. But of course, the elephant in the room is his three-point shot straight up isn't going. His stats for this playoff run, 22 minutes per game, so a slight deduction from his regular season average. 8.6 points per game, which is a pretty big dip for Immanuel Quickley going from the regular season to the playoffs. 1.7 rebounds per game, so that tenacity and that nose for the ball is really getting deducted with Immanuel Quickley here in the playoffs. 1.1 assists per game on 48% from the 2, 24% from 3 on a very similar sample size to what it was in the regular season in terms of shots per game from beyond the arc, and 35% from the field. Immanuel Quickley is really struggling with his overall feel for the game and shot from three-point land. Something that's really frustrated me, even more than Immanuel Quickley not hitting his shots in this postseason, has been some of his half-court offense decision-making. Immanuel Quickley is a guy in the regular season. He was pretty decisive with the ball. Sometimes I think he could be a little bit careless, but this indecisiveness has really come to a head in the playoffs for him. There's so many times in this playoff run where Immanuel Quickley will be baiting for a foul. He'll put up a really bad shot, assuming the refs are calling for a foul, and they just will not call it, resulting in a really bad possession early on in the shot clock. In Game 2 of this Miami Heat series, he had a pretty good fourth quarter, but there was a play in this game where he had a really bad offensive charge. And in my opinion, this play really just sums up the recklessness that Immanuel Quickley has played in the half-court offense. At first glance with Immanuel Quickley, you would think a guy of his size is not that good of a defender, but his on-off numbers defensively in the regular season this season were outright phenomenal for the New York Knicks. He was one of the better defenders in terms of his analytical grading, and so going into this playoff series, they were really relying on Immanuel Quickley, especially with that off-ball defense. That's something that he's really good at, those rotations and that closeout speed, and that's something he's somewhat struggled with in this playoff series. In my opinion, his defense has not been that bad, but there's been some times where the Miami Heat have gotten open three opportunities because of Immanuel's inability to close out on perimeter shooters. All in all, I really like Immanuel Quickley's game. That's why I'm really disappointed to see for the second time in a row in his career, he really struggles to translate that regular season success to the playoffs. Thanks for listening, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think Immanuel Quickley could do to really change up his game and play a little bit better in the playoffs here? Hopefully by the time this video is out, Immanuel Quickley had a phenomenal second half against the Miami Heat in this game 3, as Immanuel Quickley really starts to try to ease the nerves of the Knicks fans here going into game 4. Thanks for listening, guys.